everybody, it is me, XFreezerBunny, and welcome back to part 7 of the Sims 3 house building the Chateau de Chenonceau in real time. Okay guys, so in this part we're finally going to be able to furnish the interior and do some interior decorations. So I'm really excited because I know that a lot of you guys are literally itching to do some interior decorating and kind of push forward and move forward with the construction of the Chateau. And as usual, I'm gonna be bringing up my Google browser where I have some handy dandy photos prepared of the rooms that are hopefully we're going to be able to decorate in this part. If we have enough time, I'm planning to decorate a couple of rooms, in particular the gallery and then some staterooms as well. But before we actually begin with the decoration, I just want to take a second to show you guys around the Chateau and show you guys some of the differences that happened. Pretty much the only thing that happened off camera was that I just painted this bottom foundation area of the Chateau, this like bottom this bottom part of the Chateau, which is, you know, shows like kind of a darker paint or kind of a darker wall covering, because if we get some high tide actually, and I'm talking about this in real life, if the river Cher, which apparently is the river that the Chateau is built upon, it increases the water level, it kind of like has an effect on the wall, you know, on the wall finish and stuff like that. But the rest of the Chateau is pretty much the same. I just went ahead and painted most of the outside of the Chateau. Still quite a bit of painting left to do, as well as embellishment of the outside. In particular, we need to do like a lot of spires and chimneys and stuff like that, but we're gonna do that in another part, because right now I really want to get started on the interior. And first things first that I'm gonna do actually is change the material for our door here. And actually, you know what, while this is loading, I want to go ahead and show you guys the door color of the Chateau, and it's actually a very interesting color. I did not expect it to kind of be like a blue-green mixed with a little gray over here, so I'm not gonna zoom that in, but you guys can kind of see the color that I'm talking about. So I'm gonna actually this would be perfect. That is perfect. I don't know, it might have to grow on me, but we're gonna do it for now, kind of just a placeholder. That actually looks really good. That looks really awesome, and it looks really similar to the Chateau door itself. And okay, one more thing that I also want to get rid of are these cornices. Unfortunately, these Victorian cornices have a fatal flaw, and they are actually visible across the wall. You guys can see that. They're literally pass through the wall like freaking ghosts. It's really annoying, and I don't want it like that, because it's kind of gonna make the interior look all glitchy and stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this as like you know, that's like an executive decision, I guess, that I'm making to just get rid of these, even though I really liked how they looked outside, and you know, I think they provided a nice touch. The fact that they're kind of glitching out and visible I think they're gonna ruin the interior pretty much, so I think it would be a better decision to just get rid of them. Okay, and we also need to tweak the floor plan just a little bit. I want to make everything squared. Off camera I decided that the turrets are going to be bathrooms. I don't know, depends on whether I could think of something better. Actually, this one also needs to be made a square. Now, one dilemma that I have, you guys, is the kitchen. I do not know where to put the kitchen. I'm a little bit scared that we're gonna have to put the kitchen on the basement level type of area, if you'd even consider this like at the basement level. But I'm a little bit scared that we might have to put it underneath, which kind of, yeah, it's a little bit scary, because it's gonna be hard to incorporate it over here, because this is the area, I believe, if I remember correctly, of the actual kitchen in the Chateau. So and based off of looking from what you guys from you know, the floor plans that you guys sent me, there's no kitchen that's indicated on either the ground or second or first floor. So definitely the kitchen is located somewhere in the basement. Okay, but I will do that in a later time, because right now I really want to get started on this area over here. And of course, the first thing that we're gonna furnish is the Grand Gallery, or actually it has like a special name that I do not know what the meaning of it is, but actually let's look at, okay, I think, okay, there we go. The La Galerie du Rez-de-Chaussée, if I'm saying that correctly, Rez-de-Chaussée, if I'm saying that correctly. I do not know what that means. But the good thing is I actually have Google Translate with me right now. I'll open, so since I'm really curious, I literally do not know what this means, but let's actually see how it's translated to English. No connection? What? Okay, ground chaussée. That's weird. Oh, it means ground floor. Okay, that makes sense, right? Okay, it's the ground floor gallery. Okay, the first room that we're gonna furnish is the ground floor gallery. Awesome. So we are going to start with the wall covering, and if you actually look at images, you guys can see that the wall covering for the ground floor gallery is actually very simple. It's just a plain stucco with some trim on top of it, nothing too crazy. It's also like a very thin stucco. Stucco means like paintwork or stuff like, or plaster. But I say thin because you can actually see some of the bricks. So I think we have the perfect candidate, and I think we can actually use the stucco that we use outside, because I think it's like the perfect consistency of a visible / paint job, if you guys get what I mean. We can still see the brick texture, which is really awesome, but at the same time it looks kind of put together, and I don't know, but yeah, it looks really awesome. And of course we're gonna put some on these areas as well. I'm gonna be placing some arches over there in a little bit, so yeah. And then let's go ahead and finish our paint job. And of course, a couple of fireplaces to finish off this room, which, by the way, I still have not yet incorporated any chimneys on the outside, so we might have to think about that. The good thing is that we actually can remove the chimneys from the fireplace using the Move Objects sheet, but I will elaborate on that later. Okay, the second thing that we need to do is to paint or like apply the material for the floor. So I think yep, it's a beautiful marble floor that's very simple as well. I kind of have a really good one in mind. I believe it was located in the tiles. Of course it would be in the tile section, right? So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and use these ones. I'm saying that with a question mark because I'm not sure. Actually, you know what? Maybe we can, I think that might be a little too small. Okay, that is a really good size. How about this one? It's also not so bad. Actually, this one is a good size, but I just don't like how new it looks. So I'm just gonna go ahead and actually just grab our textures over here for the wall and copy it on the floor. Now you guys could probably notice that I am kind of rushing myself, because I don't know, I really want to get over with this house build and record something for you guys, because I have school tomorrow and I have a bunch of homework. I know, right? I should not be telling you guys that, but still, I wanted to record something for you guys, maybe 1 or 2 parts. The previous 2 parts were recorded simultaneously. I believe I told you guys that before, but I did leave a little bit of time in between them and this one, just for you guys to comment and all that stuff. And actually, since I sent you guys like an SOS question in the last part on which chateau do you want to see in my Versailles world, so you guys had to vote on 3 chateaux, right? If you guys remember correctly. If you guys have not seen the previous part, you guys may probably want to check it out so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to look at some different floor textures. But anyway, back to the chateau question. So far, the ratings are, or like your votes, really pushed me towards Chateau de Cheverny. So Cheverny is number 1 as of now. The thing is, I just want to make it clear to you guys that even though a specific building is gonna, you know, be voted as number 1 or something, or gonna have most votes, that is not an assurance that I am going to end up using that building, just because if I feel like it doesn't work with the world, I'm not gonna do it. However, you guys have the opportunity to sway me against that decision. So if you really want to push towards building a specific chateau, please don't hesitate to comment, because I am reading each and every one of your guys' comments and I'm paying attention to what a lot of people want, okay? The second one is actually Fontainebleau, and the third one is Chateau de Vaux-le-Vicomte. So hopefully I'm saying those properly, and you guys also commented on a lot. I actually really like that. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and stick to that. awesome, awesome, awesome. And you guys can see that it looks like it has aged a bit. You know, the black, it's not entirely black. It has like some bits and pieces of it worn out, which is really, really cool. But yeah, that's kind of how things are going right now with all the votings and stuff. Let's see here. What else should I talk about? Okay, let's actually put some arches, and I think I know the perfect one. Oh yeah, a lot of you guys also recommended like other chateaux as well from all around France. But for now, I'm still committed, or like I'm still pushing for either Cheverny, Fontainebleau, or Vaux-le-Vicomte. But yeah, the archway I was talking about is this one. Even though Viandry would not be so bad, because that chateau is absolutely stunning. Like, it has the most amazing, beautiful garden. So, I don't know. Maybe I can build just the garden. Okay, so this one is actually really, really nice. But let's look at... Oh. So, the arches are actually very, very simplistic. Okay, so since they're actually super, super simple, I'm just gonna go ahead and look for... This is perfect. This came with World Adventures. I believe, yeah, it came with World Adventures. I could have sworn, okay, there we go. I was like, I could have sworn like another arch came with Showtime that looks like that. Okay, I'm gonna use the World Adventures one, just because I kind of like how it has the thinner frame and stuff like that. Okay, let's go ahead and grab this wall texture and also apply it onto these archways. Like that, boom. I actually want to use just the, yeah, just the brick one. Okay. And one thing that I actually am really, really thankful for is that you guys actually participated in, you know, which chateau we should build next. I'm really, really happy to hear from you guys. Yeah, so please just don't hesitate to comment if you guys have any suggestions on how we can make, you know, anything better, or like anything that we can improve on is definitely something that I would consider. Okay, so pretty much, and I've also gotten a lot of positive feedback from the series. That's why I'm kind of motivated to do some more Sims 3 series, because a lot of you guys really, really like it. And a lot of you guys also just kind of are super, super interested in my Versailles world, which I plan to show more of it to you guys. Maybe I can even do like a gameplay part or two, maybe like a mini series, even though the world itself is like very, very incomplete. I don't know, maybe to show you guys a little bit of gameplay to kind of help, I don't know, maybe decide for yourself whether you want to download the world or not. Okay, so let's just finish off by capping, or like just placing these archways like so. And then, okay, now that we've done that, we can go ahead and actually begin furnishing the okay, there we go. We can actually begin trying to find for ourselves like which ceiling to use, because actually the good thing about Chateau de Chenonceau is it has really, really simple, I guess, or like really straightforward ceilings, which is super awesome. I don't have to like spend a lot of time, you know, constrained floor elevation cheating and stuff like that. So yeah, oh my god, so far this looks really, really amazing, you guys. Okay, it looks so much like the chateau already. Of course it doesn't look like it 100%, but it looks really, really close and pretty cool. Okay, now for the ceiling, I just want to have like a horizontal one, and that's pretty much it. Just really, really straightforward horizontal wooden pieces. Okay, so we are gonna go ahead and, ooh, this looks really nice. That looks also actually looks really nice, but I feel like it needs to be spaced out a little bit more. So let's try to look for some other. Do we not have any more straight wood? Maybe this one? That's also really nice, but it looks like, oh my god, yes, maybe we can use this one. Oh my gosh, yes, that looks really, really awesome. Cool beans. Okay, I think I can go with that actually. Or maybe, actually, you know what? Maybe we can go with this one instead. Yes, I think we can go with this one because the lines are flowing parallel, and you know, it's horizontal from where we're looking at, and I think that is the way it is in the chateau itself. Let's look at that. Yep, it's mainly horizontal. So let's do that, and actually let's go ahead and change the ceiling color, or like the wood pattern. Now, if you guys see some stuff happening here, don't worry, it does glitch out a bit like that, but there is an easy fix for that. So you guys shouldn't panic or something. So actually let's look at some wooden textures that we can use here. Oh, okay, that looks really nice. I wanted something that's a little bit darker. Maybe these ones. Oh my god, that is so red. I think this one would actually... Ooh, that's also really nice. You can actually see some age in the wood, which is really cool. Should I do that? I don't know. I kind of like that a lot, but let's look for a piece, like a wood texture that's a little bit more less worn out, I guess. Oh my god, maybe this one would work. That looks really good, actually, if I do say so myself. That looked really, really good. Maybe this one? I'm literally testing out everything, so we have pretty much explored all our options. Maybe this one? I don't know. For me, it's more about the texture, not necessarily like the color of the wood, because the color we can change it eventually anyway. So yeah, I'm just looking for something that is this is super difficult, you guys. Okay, maybe this one. I literally have clicked on every possible wood choice. This one is a very, very dark color and rich color, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe choose this one. I think this would be a really, really good choice, and then maybe we can make it slightly to the more yellowish side of the spectrum. Like that. I think that would be great. Yep, I think that's a really, really similar color, and let's copy that over here. And actually, you know what, maybe we can make this one darker just to give it a little bit more horizontal emphasis. Hopefully it can be seen and stuff, because this one is looking really light. Okay, you know what, let's keep it in that color, and actually this one we can make it lighter. Okay, see how that looks? Okay, it's probably taking a while, but that looks really cool. Okay, let's make it slightly whiter. Come on, game. Okay, there we go. Okay, I actually really, really like how that looks now. Okay, maybe we can make this one slightly darker. Okay, just a little bit. Just to bring out that richness of the materials. Okay, that works, that works. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. I am so in love with this, you guys. I am, it looks really good. If I do say so myself, oh my gosh, it looks really good. If I do say so myself, I don't know, I'm really, really happy with it. So, okay, next thing that we're gonna do is actually place in some fireplaces. And I still have the move objects sheet on, so it'll be a little bit easier for us to kind of do something with the fireplace. Now, I have the perfect fireplace in mind. Unfortunately, the fireplace that I really, really want to use came with Midnight Hollow, and I know that some of you guys don't have Midnight Hollow, but I really, really want to use this fireplace. It looks perfect. Like it catches like the feel of the chateau to a T, and even though it does not look anything like the fireplace over here, which is more of a classical Renaissance design, I feel like this one kind of carries on that feel. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and actually just copy our materials over here. Hopefully you guys don't hate me for this, because it did came with Midnight Hollow. So I feel a little bit bad to everyone who does not have Midnight Hollow. Okay, so let's just play around with some of the textures like that. Maybe you can put it there. Actually, I want that to be, like, yeah, I want to see the brick. Okay, that's awesome. And then let's put that over here, if we can. And what is that black one on the in like the very bottom? I'm assuming it's probably like the grills and stuff. Okay, let's go ahead, and it's taking forever for the game. It's like, I guess the game is like thinking or something. So Okay, let us just, come on game, you can do this. Okay, there's more. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and then just drag this one over here up top. That's great. And then this one I'm gonna go ahead and copy it over at the bottom. Since you guys really want me to talk about like architecture and stuff like that, I think for this podcast, no, I'm kidding. But for today, I think I'm gonna go ahead and talk about like, let's see here. What should I talk about? Let's actually talk about different architectural styles, beginning with Romanesque. And I'm beginning with Romanesque because it is one piece of architecture that I don't consider as ancient architecture. Before the Romanesque style, we have like the Roman or something. Roman architecture of ancient Rome is what I'm talking about, and I consider that ancient still. So I'm gonna begin with Romanesque, Byzantine or Byzantine, and stuff like that. So basically I'm gonna try to talk about each and every one of them to keep you guys entertained while furnishing. So good luck to me. Okay, why can't I grab the freaking chimney? Okay, there we go. So after the collapse of the Roman Empire, I sounded so smart there, but yeah, after the collapse of the Roman Empire, the world fell into chaos. Pretty much there was like no peace. Europe itself was like in turmoil because there was so much conflict, and a lot of people call this the Dark Ages. I don't necessarily like to call it the Dark Ages because in other parts of the world, most notably in Asia, I'm Asian by the way, in Asia a lot of artistic stuff was developing. Like Tang Dynasty China had its peak, influencing, you know, very, very Chinese influenced countries today like Japan and Korea. And of course India has also influenced a lot of Asian countries, like many countries in Asia, like in Southeast Asia, especially like, of course, the Philippines, that's where I live, and other countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, stuff like that. Many of those countries were influenced by India. And of course, in the Middle East, the Islamic world was also reaching a point of like a golden age, I guess, where they were able to preserve a lot of the knowledge of the Roman Empire. So eventually, I guess I should start with, yeah, so Romanesque is actually a style of architecture that derives heavily from, oopsie, did I delete the fireplace? I deleted the fireplace. How stupid is that? Or is it just invisible? Because I cannot see it. Like, I don't understand. Okay. Where'd it go? I was too distracted on like the podcast. Why is like the fireplace invisible? I don't understand. I don't freaking understand. Okay, talk about glitchy though. What is happening, you guys? Let's actually look at what's happening up top and see what's going on there. Okay, that works, and then let's put it back. See whether we have like a fireplace or not. Oh, are you freaking shitting me? I felt so stupid. Never mind. I was actually looking at a different floor. I felt so stupid, you guys. Never mind. I was looking at a different floor. Okay. I was looking at this one. The thing is, this one looks almost exactly the same as this over here. So, apologies. But anyway, yeah. The Romanesque style is called Romanesque because it actually uses a lot of Roman technology in its construction. In particular, the use of columns, like, you know, columns, and also the use of the vault. And these technologies were invented by the Romans and all that stuff. So, Romanesque architecture is kind of the precursor to Gothic architecture because Romanesque used to be, you know, it was used a lot in churches and stuff, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some plants on these archways and stuff as well. But Romanesque architecture is very, very much associated with like the Catholic Church and stuff like that. So, characteristic of Romanesque architecture is that it has very small windows, rounded arch. So archways during this time were rounded, okay? The pointed arch still wasn't a thing because Gothic architecture still didn't exist. And I think I'm actually gonna use, this one would be really good, but that's actually a little bit big. Okay, let's actually just use this one. This is perfect. And this is actually a Sims 3 store content item, but it's free. So you guys can actually just download this for yourself. But anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and change that material into a nice white. Anyway, back to Romanesque architecture. Yes, I don't like that texture. Okay, maybe this one. Okay, so yeah, one characteristic of Romanesque architecture is also like, what else? Thick walls, because, you know, in order to support those archways and stuff like that, it had to have thick walls, because at this point they didn't have the technology like flying buttresses and stuff like that that they had in Gothic architecture. So Romanesque architecture had to make do with really, really thick walls, small windows, columns, and stuff like that to support itself. And we actually see a lot of Romanesque architecture in Italy, because Italy doesn't have many Gothic buildings and stuff like that. Okay, let's go ahead and actually use, you know what, I always use the wicker material on this one. You know, together with the Romanesque, I think was also the Byzantine architecture. Now, Byzantine and Romanesque share a lot of common design. Like, both of them used to be applied to church architecture intensively, and I'm just gonna make that white. Perfect. And then the only difference is Byzantine was actually popular in like the Asian part of the Roman Empire, if that makes any sense, especially like in Turkey, Constantinople, and stuff like that. And, you know, of course, some of the best examples of Byzantine architecture is the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, Turkey. So yeah. And actually, one really interesting example of Byzantine architecture is also the St. Mark's Basilica. Oh, I don't know why I said basilica like that, but the St. Mark's Basilica in Venice is also an interesting example of Byzantine architecture. I'm just gonna put some lights, and I'm doing the whole talk about Byzantine and Romanesque together because I think they kind of flourished during the same style. And they kind of employed the same technique. Both Byzantine and Romanesque decorations were mosaic. There might be some frescoes in Romanesque architecture, but definitely mosaics were very popular, and they would use like iridescent, gold-plated pieces of tiles, and they would use like millions and millions of tiles. I don't know what lighting fixture I want to use. Okay, actually, let's use this one that came with the town life stuff. There we go. Actually, this would work perfectly. By the way, if you guys don't have town life stuff, it actually was used to be for free. I don't think it's free right now, but I think a couple of months ago, EA released town life stuff free to celebrate like the, I believe it was the 10th anniversary of The Sims and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, that is Romanesque architecture for you. Actually, Romanesque revival is really popular actually in the 19th century, like 1,000 years after it became popular. Because, I don't know, it gets used a lot in church architecture. I think it's because, you know, many of the historic places of worship used to be designed in either the Romanesque or the Byzantine style. I keep calling it Byzantine for some strange reason. What a weird accent. But before it was renovated in the Baroque Renaissance style, St. Peter's was actually Byzantine. And then St. Mark's, as I told you guys, was also Byzantine style. So many Italian churches and just Italian architecture is Byzantine and Romanesque. Now, the next stage in the development of architecture is the Gothic style, which I'm pretty sure many people are familiar with. Gothic architecture actually began in France with the construction of the Abbey of Saint-Denis, somewhere which is apparently a suburb of Paris. I'm gonna make it nighttime so you guys can see. But yes, the Abbey of Saint-Denis actually is partly a Romanesque. Wow. Oh my god. Is it just me, or does this lighting just kind of blow your mind? I am absolutely in love with this lighting. And we can even change the color of the light. So if I type in testing cheats, testing cheats enabled on. I actually have the option to change the light color and stuff like that, so it's gonna be really, really cool. If we make it into a kind of flame, every time I make period buildings, I always set the lighting color to flame just because I feel like it fits, and then we're going to set it to all lights. Oh my gosh, you guys, it looks very, very similar to the Chateau de Chenonceau itself, so very, very excited about that. Okay, now we need to put some lights inside of these like niches and stuff, and since you don't even see that much of the light. Okay, actually maybe we can use, ooh, I really want to use this. That looks really cool. Actually, we can we use it there? Or maybe even like some fire. Actually, you know what? Can we put in some, this one I think would work really well. Wow. Talk about like, you know, lighting design. Whoa. Okay, oopsie. Okay, so I guess I have to put it there. And then that actually looks really cool. I'm gonna go with that. It's kind of different from what you guys are probably used to, but I really like it, so I'm gonna go with that. And actually we can make this a different color later. We'll change it. But anyway, so yes, the Gothic architecture began in France with actually, so the thing is, the Abbey Church of Saint-Denis was pretty much complete in itself. You know, it was already a really, really good structure. It was mostly complete and stuff like that. The only problem is apparently the abbot or the priest in charge. Is he a priest? I think an abbot is a priest, right, or something. I don't know, but yeah, the abbot of the church who is in charge of the church, you know, care of taking care of the church. He wanted to kind of make a new. He wanted to make a new choir loft for his like, you know, his church, his cathedral. So there was only one problem. He wanted the choir loft to be filled with light. Okay. The problem is, as I've told you guys, in Romanesque architecture, it has small windows, thick walls, so it's impossible to flood your interior with light. So the architects invented a very, very ingenious way of creating thin walls and really, really massive windows without sacrificing the building's strength structurally. That's kind of the birth of Gothic architecture. So we're gonna set the color into orange, all lights for now. And you know, I'm pretty sure you guys are probably like, what the hell is he doing? He's cray-cray. Okay, but it's easier to do this and then actually set the color of this one into, what should we set it to? To flame. And then this light. I mean, no, this room, I mean. Okay, we're gonna do that again. Set color, flame, and then apply it to this room. And then, you know what? Okay, we are going to go ahead and set the intensity to bright, all lights. And then we are gonna lessen the intensity in this room. Set intensity, normal, this room. Okay. Really, really easy fix, but back to like my whole discussion. Do you guys enjoy this? Because I don't know, probably you guys aren't watching this to get a history lesson, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are getting enough of that from school already, so I don't know, depends. This looks fantastic though. It looks really, really awesome. I'm really, really happy with that. Actually, let's take a second to look at it. But yeah, eventually, yeah, back to the Gothic architecture discussion. Eventually, they were able to design some solutions, actually. The first solution is, of course, the buttress, the flying buttress, which provides support to the building so that it can be structurally stable against the forces of gravity and stuff like that. Really, really ingenious solution. And also, the Gothic arch, or like the pointed arch, is also like part of the solution as well, because it actually gives you the ability to make really, really tall windows. And it doesn't have to be, because if you're talking about circular, if you're talking about a semicircular arch, okay, I'm gonna demonstrate it to you guys here really quickly. If you're talking about a semicircular arch, every time you widen your door or your window, every time you make this space wider, you're gonna have to make a taller arch, okay, if it's semicircular. However, if you have a pointed arch, the point can actually change. You can make it taller or you can make it shorter. So if you make this wider, you can still keep the same pointiness. If you guys get what I mean, you don't have to increase the height of the window. So I think that was also a really, really practical solution that the architects were actually very, very ingenious to come up with. So yeah. And then I think we also need to put some lights on the fireplaces. Or maybe not. Let's not. Let's just keep it like that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put some chairs. Okay, I guess I should like finish my talk about Gothic architecture or something. Okay, so the best examples of Gothic architecture, I'm pretty sure you guys already know. Notre Dame in Paris, of course, is an icon of architecture in general. And other good examples of Gothic architecture, Chartres Cathedral, if I'm saying that correctly, Chartres Cathedral, south of Paris, or like actually west of Paris, is also another excellent example. And also we have the Church of Saint Denis, as I've discussed to you guys earlier, who gave birth to the Gothic style. Also a couple of really good Gothic architecture examples in Belgium and in England, so awesome, awesome, awesome. Personally, I have a really, really soft spot for Notre Dame, of course, because I grew up watching The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And can we use this chair? Looks beautiful. It looks big. That looked really, really big, by the way. Okay, let's type in the move objects sheet really quickly. You know what? Let's keep it on for now. Let's just look for some really, really simple. I think these would work. I think that works. And then, yeah, you know, I grew up watching Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I have a really, really soft spot for that. One Gothic church that I also really like is the Chartres Cathedral. My voice cracked there, but that was so funny. But yeah, the Chartres Cathedral I really like because of the windows. It is beautiful, you guys. Chartres invented a color. It invented a type of blue color that is, I believe, called Chartres blue. Of course, naturally it would be called like that, but very, very beautiful. The blue color is, you know, associated with the Virgin Mary. That's why they used it a lot on that church, because I believe the church is dedicated to the Virgin Mary and stuff like that. But beautiful church, especially for the stained glass windows. The thing is, the only like problem of Chartres Cathedral for me is that the facade is kind of like all over the place, and I know a lot of people probably like it as it is. They kind of like the romantic aspect of it, but me personally, I prefer it symmetrical. Probably just me though. For me, the facade of the Chartres Cathedral just looks a little bit awkward, but I think the interior of it makes up for any misgivings and stuff like that. It's just a very, very stunning interior, especially the stained glass. And then we also have some very, you know, very sparse examples in Italy. Nothing too crazy in terms of Gothic architecture. We do have the Doge's Palace, which is not a church, but it is kind of like an eclectic mix of Gothic, Byzantine, and many other architectural styles. And we also have the Milan Cathedral, actually, which is originally a Romanesque. I told you guys that there were a lot of Romanesque buildings in Italy, but yeah, the Milan Cathedral was originally Romanesque. It got renovated in the 18th century into a Gothic style, and it looks really interesting because Gothic architecture, one characteristic of it is that it has like horizontal emphasis, but the Milan Cathedral is more vertical than horizontal and doesn't even have any towers on it. So I think that's a really interesting thing to compare and contrast for you guys, if to people who like to observe things like that. Okay, but yeah, Gothic architecture, as beautiful as it is not my favorite, because you guys know that my favorite is Baroque and Renaissance. So actually, you know what, having said that, let's move on and try to talk about Renaissance architecture this time, okay? And actually, let's change that. Okay, so the Romanesque period, I believe, probably began sometime in the 4th to like the 10th century or something like that, together with the Byzantine or something, whatever. Byzantine, don't judge. That's just how I say it. And then the Gothic period of architecture began sometime in like the 11th century to like the 15th century. Okay. So that is a very, very long span that many people consider as the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty much the same. It's talking about the same piece of history. And then a ray of light shone. So yeah, the Middle Ages was a period that lasted about 1,000 years or so. And then eventually when people began to discover like ruins of the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks, that kind of spurred the rebirth of classical ideas. So yeah, that was kind of the first indications of classicism being incorporated in architecture for the next 500 years, okay? So it all began with the discovery of ruins, of Roman ruins, and the appreciation for the architecture of ancient Rome and ancient Greece. And eventually they discovered, you know, writings of ancient Greeks and ancient Roman philosophers and mathematicians and geographers and stuff like that. Interestingly, the Europeans actually discovered those from the Muslims, because the Moors are actually very avid you know, literary scholars and stuff like that. So they were one of the reasons why many ancient texts from antiquity survive. So yeah, I think that's something a lot of people kind of don't really acknowledge. Anyway. Okay, I do not know what to put here. Like, I do not know the color. Okay, maybe we can use this instead. Okay. It's leather, though. Maybe we can do fabric instead. Okay. So, upon the discovery of that, of course, Renaissance architecture was born. And then, you know, I think some of the first, you know, signs of the Renaissance is actually the doors of the baptistry of the Florence Cathedral. That is the first spurs of Renaissance architecture. And, you know, it's not exactly Renaissance, but, you know, the building itself is not Renaissance, is what I'm trying to say. However, the doors are actually very, very Renaissance, and it incorporates a lot of modern, quote unquote, modern to those times. It incorporates a lot of modern, ideas and techniques. You know, the Renaissance people invented so many things that we take for granted right now. The first one is perspective. The fact that we can see our world and art right now is in 3D is because of the Renaissance guys, you know. Of course, I forgot the name of the guy who found it out. Probably Buonarroti or something like that. I forgot. But isn't that amazing? Like, the fact that you can take a piece of paper and draw in perspective, that is because of the Renaissance people. Really, really awesome. And actually, let's just use that. That's really awesome. The color, I mean. And then, so yeah, like I told you guys, the baptistry in Florence really kind of kick-started the Renaissance, and eventually the Florence Cathedral had its dome erected by, I forgot his first name, Filippo Buonarroti, Filippo Brunelleschi. There we go. It's Michelangelo Buonarroti, the sculptor, and Filippo Brunelleschi, the creator of the world famous dome of the freaking Florence Cathedral, and it is the largest unsupported dome in the world. And for 1,000 years, the largest dome was that of the Pantheon in Rome, and then eventually it was toppled down by the Florence Cathedral, which was a larger dome, which was built during the Renaissance. So that kind of gives you guys in perspective on how important the Renaissance was. And we also have other really good examples of Renaissance architecture, such as the Foundlings Hospital. I believe it's what it's called. I don't know. That's how we call it in school. We call it in the Foundlings Hospital in my history class, but I think other people call it something differently. I forgot just what other people called it, but I believe it was also built by Brunelleschi, and it has like some very, very beautiful arcade that uses columns, very, very Roman influence architecture. Like, it's very awesome. Foundings Hospital, you guys. And then, of course, the Renaissance is not only known for its architects, it is known as the era that actually celebrates humanity and celebrates mankind and creativity, and really elevates men, because medieval, Dark Age, art, literature, everything kind of revolves around religion, and then Renaissance kind of put human beings on a pedestal. So we have amazing artists like my namesake, Leonardo da Vinci, I was gonna say DiCaprio, and other great artists like Michelangelo Buonarroti, Raphael, and who else? Like a lot of other artists. It's an amazing period. It's one of my favorites, you guys. So yeah, Renaissance, really cool. Okay, we still have a little bit of time. The next room that we're gonna furnish is actually going to be, let's furnish this one. And this is actually, I believe, Louis the somethings, Salon Louis XIV, if I'm saying that correctly, Salon Louis XIV, Salon of Louis the 14th. And then it's over, it's number 10, so it's over here. Yep, it's the room to the left of the main door. I just really like the Renaissance period. I don't know why, but since it brought like back the classical ideals, I think that's the reason why I like it. And this is what I'm talking about to you guys, the Salon of Louis the 14th. It's very red. And then okay, the first thing that I want to start on is the wall covering. Very beautiful, very striking red color that it has. So let's go ahead and actually grab some wall covering over here. I'm trying to think of other Renaissance buildings and stuff like that, so I can give you guys some more examples. Well, you know, Renaissance also spread all throughout Europe. Of course, it began in Italy, eventually reached places like France, England, and stuff like that. French Renaissance is actually very different from Italian Renaissance, because Italian architecture in general mostly has flat roofs and stuff like that, but French Renaissance architecture is what we're building right now. The Chateau de Chenonceau is probably an epitome of French Renaissance architecture, and even though the shape of it is nothing like Italian Renaissance, the embellishments of it, like all the different sculptures, all the different columns and stuff like colonnades, and the archways, you guys can see, I told you guys that is a Roman invention and stuff like that. You know, that is what defines it as a Renaissance building, the fact that it incorporates classical, you know, classical architectural elements. Awesome, right? Hopefully you guys are still interested, because I don't want this to be boring. Okay, so if you guys don't want me to talk about stupid history, just tell me, and I'm just gonna revert back to how I usually do all these things, just ranting and rambling about my normal life. Okay, let's actually look at that one more time. Okay, just very simple, nothing in the middle. Okay, I know the perfect one. Okay. Actually, let's use, yeah. Okay, let's just use this one. I use this thing a lot, actually. Where is it? Okay, this one I use a lot. Like, I use this in most of my house builds just because it is a very versatile paint. I'm gonna use a lot of gold in this room, of course, but yeah. And, you know, unlike Byzantine, Romanesque, and Gothic, which was the prevailing architecture of the Dark Ages, they look similar, but they don't look, you know, super close. You can clearly differentiate a Gothic structure from a Byzantine and a Romanesque structure, right? You guys agree with me, right? Okay. However, Renaissance actually kickstarted an architectural movement that lasted for 500 years until the 1900s, where modernism kind of, you know, overhauled all the Renaissance ideals like that. But Renaissance architecture lasted up until about the 17th century, and then from the 17th to the 18th century we have Baroque architecture. And then in the 18th century, we have Rococo and Neoclassical in the 19th century, and all the different revivals and stuff like that. But yeah, the comparison that I was trying to make between Renaissance and stuff is that if you actually compare Neoclassical, Renaissance, Rococo, and Baroque, they look really, really similar. They look like freaking conjoined twins. That's how similar they look. And you know, and people who don't have a clue, usually they can't differentiate. Oh my god, that is a beautiful wall color. We're gonna use that. And even though like the actual room itself, it was really, really plain, I'm gonna use this one instead just because it looks very beautiful. You can do it like that. It needs to be striking. It needs to be like, boom, red. So yeah, eventually, should we go with that? I don't see it really well actually. Okay, let's go ahead and just put it back there. Yeah, there was also a very, very interesting story of Renaissance artists and stuff like that, but I will save that in another podcast. But yeah, the Renaissance really invented, you know, I'm just saying this, I guess, but the Renaissance kind of did justice to the word masterpiece, because Renaissance has many of the world's most famous artworks. We have the Mona Lisa, which is the world's most famous painting, clearly. We have the David by Michelangelo, Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci, and then we have the Statue of David by Michelangelo Buonarroti, which is the world's most famous sculpture. And also we have the Sistine Chapel ceiling by, once again, Michelangelo Buonarroti, which is the world's most famous ceiling. I'd like to consider that. Okay, whatever. Okay, and then we have this fireplace, the world's most famous from, no, I'm kidding. La cheminée de style Renaissance ornée. I'm reading it in French. Okay, so we're gonna put kind of a classical looking fireplace over here. Alrighty guys, we are back, and it actually just took some time to save my game progress and also my audio and video recording, because this is a very, very lengthy part, and if something crashes or something, I'm literally gonna die. Okay, so before we proceed, I was able to make some changes while waiting for the videos to process, and yes, everything is gonna be in one part, so don't worry. It's gonna be like about an hour long, or a little bit more than an hour. Okay, so as you guys can see, I did some minor changes to this great ground floor hall, or the gallery, and clearly, even if I only did some very, very little changes, you can see how big, or like the effect is, how different it looks like now than how it looked like before. So the big change that I did is I removed the archways over here, which I thought looked kind of weird or something, and they were kind of blocking out this light that we had here. So right now it looks like it's more flowing from one room to another. And then I also put these ceiling lights on the center, and then I also just painted these walls like that. It brought a little bit of attention to the fireplace as well. And you guys, it looks so beautiful. It looks very, very simple, but it looks so much like the Chateau that it's actually kind of amazing. Okay, back to where we are. So like I was telling you guys, Renaissance, it's really, really probably one of my it's definitely one of my favorite architectural, eras, together with Baroque and Rococo, and Neoclassical comes in fourth, okay? But Renaissance architecture is all over the world, especially in Europe. We have some very good examples in, of course, in France, in England, in Germany. The interesting thing is that Renaissance architecture actually looks different from place to place. So Renaissance architecture looks different when you're in Italy, and when you're in France, and you're in England, and when you're in Germany, or even when you're in Russia. These buildings look very different. They have very different silhouettes. They have very different roofs. Like, for example, in Italy or in Spain, the architecture would have very, very low, flat looking roofs, while where if you go to like France or in England, we have very pointy roofs, but all of them still fall under the Renaissance category. And as I told you guys, that is because they use some classical elements to them, like columns, arches, vaults, and stuff like that. So yeah, very, very interesting fact, actually. That's something that modern architecture does not have, is that uniqueness that you get from place to place. Cause yeah, that's a little bit sad. Okay, now we need to decide on which fireplace that we want to use. I want to use this one for some strange reason, just because I have never used this fireplace at all. But I kind of don't like, you know, let's see how it works. Okay, so actually go ahead and check out our Google browser and look at it properly. So the fireplace, actually, you know what, do we have a, yeah, I feel like that's not gonna work. Probably in another room, maybe this one. I was really avoiding using, you know what, let's just go ahead and do that. And then let's get rid of these chimneys. Okay, so eventually, after the Renaissance period, oh my god, I'm gonna keep talking, you guys, like seriously though, please, if you're not interested, if you don't give a fuck, just mute the video. You can freaking play some music in the background, because so far, of course, I'm recording this, you know, without knowing whether you guys like the commentary or not, so this is kind of a test. So yeah, anyway, so yes, you guys, where was I? Okay, let's actually put some materials on this, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and make it like a nice marble. So eventually, after the Renaissance movement, we have the Baroque, and now it's very, very difficult to pin. Okay, so the Renaissance happened in sometime around 14 to 1500s. Now, what really, really important global event happened in the 1500s? Anyone? This is literally sounding like a freaking podcast. Okay, I'm talking about the shift between or like I guess the schism between Roman Catholicism, because we have like Lutheran movement known as the Protestantism, if I'm correctly in saying that. But yeah, basically England separated from the Catholic Church and made the Church of England. And then there were other similar movements in Germany where it started, as well as in France and in many parts of mainland Europe as well. So the church in Rome got scared. They were like, uh-oh, what do we need to do to keep people from having faith in God and stuff like that? And that idea is what gave birth to Baroque architecture. Because Baroque architecture is actually like a response to the new types of religion that was, you know, being unearthed, or being, you know, people were doubting the Catholic Church because there was like apparently so much corruption and stuff like that. It was a very, very difficult time for the church. So the response to all of that was, of course, coming up with an entirely new architecture that would communicate to God, or like bring people quote unquote closer to God. And that is the Baroque architecture. Now, how were they able to use Baroque architecture to counteract this Reformation? And as you guys can see, Baroque architecture incorporates a lot of paintings and sculptures, and this is how they taught the illiterate people, the Bible, because at this point in time, not many people can read or write, so it was very, very important to get the message across, and the most straightforward way to do that was actually to illustrate it visually, and, you know, that was what they did. And interesting to note that Protestant religion actually uses more Gothic, and then Baroque, more of Roman Catholic churches use it. It's just really interesting to me to point that out. But anyway, okay, let's do that for now. And then we are going to go ahead and put some floors. Now, it actually, if you guys look closer, it actually has some parquet flooring. Parquet is flooring that is made of little pieces of wood that is arranged to like you know, make a pattern and stuff. It has the parquet, but it has a rug in the middle, which is really large. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a nice little parquet floor and put it there. But yes, now a lot of people are confused about the difference between Baroque architecture and Renaissance architecture because they look really similar. They use very similar materials like marbles, gold, gilded, and stuff like that. Very, very similar. The difference is with Baroque and Renaissance is that Baroque architecture is more dynamic, okay? Dynamic in a sense that, are we gonna go with that tile? Yeah, let's go with that. What color is it actually? Let's go with that. That looks very beautiful actually, and then maybe we can just go ahead and try to switch up the colors a little bit. Or maybe even add a nice little pattern in the middle. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so back to the whole Baroque architecture thing. Maybe even this one. Do we have like a crisscross wooden pattern? That would be amazing. Oh my god. This is my first time seeing that actually, so maybe we can use that. So yeah, let's see here. Where were we? Yeah, the difference between Baroque and Renaissance, it's actually not that difficult to identify, but Baroque architecture is more dynamic than Renaissance. Now, okay, the best comparison is if you were to sculpt Michelangelo in the Renaissance style, blah. So if you were to sculpt the statue of David by Michelangelo in the Renaissance style, it would look exactly how it is because it is in the Renaissance style, okay? And Renaissance is more of like calm and motionless. Most of like the subjects are just standing in position, kind of observing, whereas in Baroque they would be part of the action, if you guys would get what I mean. So yeah, the statue of David, it's a Renaissance composition. If we were to sculpt it in Baroque, the statue of David would probably be slinging his slingshot or something, that he would be in motion, whereas in Renaissance style he would just be standing there and, you know, looking at you. So hopefully I made that comparison clear to you guys, because it's really, really tricky to compare. If you look at it visually, both these architectural styles visually look very, very similar. But if you actually understand, you know, if you actually just take a second to understand it, it becomes really interesting. That's why I really, really like studying history. Okay? And that's why I like Baroque architecture a lot, because it is dynamic, you know, it has a lot of, it's dynamic. It has a lot of movement, it has a lot of play of light, and also like a lot of shadow. Baroque is very, very theatrical. It is a very theatrical style, and you can see that when you look at Baroque theaters, or like just Baroque buildings in general, it looks like a theater. It looks like a theater piece, and that is the point of the style, because as I've mentioned to you guys, it was kind of a propaganda opposing the Reformation. So they had to be theatrical. They had to like touch the people in a way that they weren't touched before. If that makes any sense. But yeah, I really, really like Baroque architecture. A lot of people are giving it hate because of all the opulence and stuff, but I mean, the same can be said in any other architectural style, so let's probably go with that color. Actually, you know what? I feel like this would be the best color. I'm sorry, I'm taking forever to like decide. I feel like this might work. Oh my god, that is very, very dark. Okay. Let's just, you know what, let's go ahead and, just play around with the colors of this one, I guess. Super, super difficult, actually. And yeah, I don't want to stick to that, because it looks like it's... Yeah, this one, I guess we can make it a little bit darker. And I also want to use like some very, very rich tones as well. Like this one looks very, you know, like it needs a little bit more richness to the color of it. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe drag it over here, just to add that, you know, kind of very saturated color. Of course, some of the best, wow, that segue though. Some of the best examples of Baroque architecture is the Palace of Versailles. And of course, St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, one of the masterpieces. And then, let's see here. Yes, that is, you guys heard me right. Despite dating back to the, to the Roman period, St. Peter's is actually relatively new. It's actually newer than some of the Gothic cathedrals that you guys know, so very, very interesting to point out. Let's see here. What else is a really good example of Baroque architecture? Versailles is really, yeah. Okay, and then, I can't think of anything like at the top of my mind because Versailles is literally the epitome of Baroque. Probably a lot of Italian buildings, I guess. I really, really hate this color scheme. Something needs to be done, like seriously though. I might have to do this off camera because I feel like I'm just spending so much time on this stupid color scheme. You know what? We're gonna stick with this for now. You know what? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna say no to everything that we just did. Sorry guys. I'm so sorry. I know I'm all over the place, but we are gonna grab a random floor texture. And this is kind of a roulette. That is a very beautiful color. Let's go ahead and try to apply it. You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna use that one. Easy, right? There we go. No questions asked. Probably gonna replace it off camera if I really, really didn't like it. But for now, I think it works, right? Is that like the side or is that like the middle? I'm not sure. Which one is that again? I forgot. Okay, it's, where was that? I cannot find, okay, it's this one. Okay, so that is, yeah, okay. It works. It works, okay. And then let's actually just go ahead and just place it there as well. Okay, that took a million years on a day. But let's go ahead and grab some tile, I mean some carpets. You know, during this period, actually, I think the Baroque and the Neoclassical kind of came together. Oh, clearly the Baroque architecture came first, but very, very shortly after, Neoclassicism came into the picture, and Neoclassical architecture is a more rigid interpretation of Baroque, I guess, where Baroque is more of dynamic. Neoclassical kind of went back to the whole stern or like, you know, very, very motionless, you know, look, I guess, that they had in the Renaissance. And should we just make it? I'm very, very tempted to make it just a car. Let's do it. I'm so sorry, you guys. I really like how it looks like that. Okay, awesome. Cool beans. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna force myself to finish this room in this part. So it's probably gonna be an extra long part. Plus, I'm having fun talking about like all the different styles with you guys. I don't know why, but it's fun for me. So, okay, let's just grab that. And then don't worry if it looks like it's glitching out. Once again, that's just normal. Okay. Okay, so Neoclassical, the best examples of that architecture is St. Paul's in London. Very, very awesome cathedral. Very beautiful. It was built by Christopher Wren. And it was a result of a fire, actually, that happened in the cathedral, which burned the original Gothic one, and then it was replaced by Neoclassical design. Interesting how they didn't use the Baroque, because Baroque is used mainly in Roman Catholic churches and in palaces and stuff like that. Some of the most famous Baroque architects is definitely the trio that worked on the Palace of Versailles. And all of their surnames begin with the word Le. So it's Lebrun, Lenotte, and Lebrun, Lenotte, and Levaux. So it's Louis Levaux, André Lenotte, and Charles Lebrun. And they actually are kind of the pioneers of Baroque architecture, which actually began with the Vaux-le-Vicomte. In France, the Vaux-le-Vicomte is a chateau that actually inspired the Palace of Versailles itself. How awesome is that? So Vaux-le-Vicomte was designed by those three architects that I mentioned to you guys before, Lebrun, Levaux, and Lenotte. And then apparently the owner of that chateau offended the king, and then the king actually took away his architects and stuff like that, and then put them to work on a new project that he was working on, the future Palace of Versailles. And then actually what else should we put? I'm just making sure that it is the right ceiling. Yep, I think we used the right ceiling, so okay. Cool beans. Okay, we just need to put in some paintings and then all that good stuff. Of course, we need to put like a really, really grand one over here. And that is one by Rigaud, if I'm saying that name correctly, the famous French Baroque painter, Rigaud or something like that, of Louis the 14th or 15th. I believe it's Louis the 15th. Okay, so we can go ahead and look for some beautiful paintings on the painting section of the buy mode. But yeah, Neoclassicism, it's very, very difficult to describe actually, but a lot of neoclassical architecture can be found in London. Like very, very many good neoclassical examples can be found in the city of London. Actually, maybe we can use this painting. Wow, that is a beautiful painting. Oh my gosh, where did this thing come from? I'm assuming probably Midnight Hollow or something like that. I'm looking for a painting of a person. And I don't want to use these haunted paintings that came with Supernatural, because I don't want, okay, you know what, maybe we can use this one. Yep, let's use this one, and then let's put him... Okay, I cannot use the alt thing. Okay, let's just use that. Put it there. And then, of course, the other paintings as well. This one is my go-to painting. Like, literally, I use this thing all the time. And let's just keep it the same. Yeah, let's slightly put it lower. How do I make it go down? How do I make it go down? Am I like pressing the wrong button? Oh, there we go. I was pressing the wrong button. Okay, whatever. Supposed to press the comma and the, I don't know what that thing's called. Okay, let's actually make it like two. Yeah, let's put it there. And then this one also like that. Yeah, let's just do that. That works. Okay, and then we are gonna go ahead and copy the gold texture that we have on this on this room, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, like I told you guys, Christopher Wren, probably some of the most famous neoclassical architects, together with what's his name? I totally forgot. The guy who made like the Royal Pavilion in Brighton. Totally forgot that guy's name. John Nash. Yes, there we go. John Nash, another prominent neoclassical architect that came from England as well. And then who else? And we also have some very prominent neoclassical architects from France. Gabriel, who actually proposed the renovation for the Palace of Versailles, a renovation that did not push through, was also prominent in the neoclassical style. So that's really interesting. So a characteristic of neoclassical architecture is, of course, the very, very strong geometric shapes and geometric elements. And of course, incorporating like neoclassical elements as well, such as the columns and the arches as well. I told you guys that it would be very, very difficult to compare Neoclassicism and Baroque because they look very, very similar to each other. So yeah, you know what? This is what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and just copy all of these paintings like that. So hard to decide. Okay, let's also raise these up because I do want to put like yeah. Let's do that instead. I feel like that's a little bit better. I really want to put these there. Okay. Go ahead and do that. You know what, you guys? Here's the thing. I feel like the best decision to make would be just to put in a smaller fireplace. And I know, we spent so much time on that fireplace. Actually, you know what? Let's return it. We can just go ahead and copy the materials that we use for that. That's going to be a little bit more practical time-wise. Let's see here. Which one did I really want to use? This one, actually. That's also not so bad. It's actually very nice. I wish it was bigger. That would have been amazing. You know what? Let's go ahead and just use this one. I feel like it's the most appropriate one in terms of, you know, style-wise. It looks very neoclassical. While we're at that subject, it looks very neoclassical. And let's actually increase the height of these paintings so we can actually put in some tables underneath them. Increase that. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do that once more time. Oops, come on, game. Seriously though, it's super hard. And hopefully it isn't too dark for you guys, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will point out the fact that I did not put any lights in this room. Okay, so I guess the last piece of architecture that I can talk about is the Rococo style. Once again, very difficult to differentiate Rococo from Baroque and Renaissance and stuff like that. One characteristic of Rococo architecture is actually it's more floral and it's more organic, I guess. It is more organic compared to the rigidness of Renaissance, Baroque, and Rococo. I mean, Renaissance, Baroque, and Neoclassical. Definitely the Rococo style is more rigid, and it's also, Rococo also has like an element where you can go asymmetrical, which is really interesting, because that was, you know, kind of new in the fields of architecture, going asymmetrical, which will only be seen in the Art Nouveau style, which also kind of went asymmetrical as well. But yeah, one characteristic of Rococo is that it is like literally it is an explosion of craziness. Like, if you think Baroque is opulent, just look at Rococo and you will get what I'm talking about. It's kind of crazy. Many examples of Rococo architecture can actually be found in Germany, surprisingly. I don't know the names of the places, but very beautiful architecture in Germany and in Austria. Both of those countries have very beautiful Rococo architecture, and in Russia as well. And this happened sometime between the mid and late 1700s. And then during this time, many European countries actually kind of were like flexing their muscles, if you guys get what I mean. Why cannot I? Come on. Why can't I delete that? That's really weird. Can I just okay, whatever. That was really bizarre. What is happening, you guys? Okay, you know what? Shit. Okay, I don't have any freaking idea what's going on. Is this like a glitch or something? I don't know. We might have to do something about this. Okay, that was clearly a glitch. So let's go ahead and just, yeah. Okay, there we go. Delete that. Boom. Whew, that was close. That was really weird, actually. Okay, let's go ahead and just finish off these paintings. And once again, we are going to increase the height of them. Like that. I'm getting so tired of talking. Oh my gosh. Okay, my throat is beginning to hurt. Thankfully, it wouldn't be too long until I ended this episode. So I'm just going to go ahead and once again... copy this exact same thing. I don't know what happened with that other chimney. That was just really, I mean, that other fireplace, that was like really bizarre. So yeah, unfortunately I can't name a really good example of Rococo architecture in Germany or in Austria. In France, we have some rooms in the Versailles Palace, I guess. And then like some decorations of the Petit Trianon as well. But nothing too crazy, because Versailles, it's mostly Baroque anyway. But the Rococo style was also really nice. One thing that I really liked about the Rococo is the fashions. I really, really liked the fashions. And the colors were really, really beautiful as well. Rococo color schemes are mostly like pastels, like light pinks, light greens, and light yellows, light blues. And I really, really like wearing those colors. I really, really like wearing those colors. Even like the floral prints were also kind of a big deal in the Rococo period. So I don't know, I just really, really like it. And then I think we can actually go ahead. Yeah, let's use this paint, I guess. And we can even keep that, yeah, let's use the marble. I feel like using marble would be, like, you would make the thing look so much more expensive. So let's go ahead and go to rock and stone. I am so sorry, you guys, if I'm so slow in this part. I'm just, like, super, super crazy. But hopefully I'm making up with it with my stupid, useless chit-chat or something. Or I'm probably making it worse. Like, I'm probably making it, like, super difficult for you guys to listen to it because I'm like chatting about random things. I really want to use that one actually. Yeah, let's try to use that one, but I want it in these colors. So yeah, I think that's what sets Rococo style apart from Baroque or from Neoclassical and from Renaissance. Renaissance and Baroque, both of those styles had very rich colors like reds and dark blues, royal blues, like scarlet reds and stuff like that. Rococo had the pastels, and Neoclassical mostly had white. White for color, yes. And then, yeah, a lot of white for the Neoclassical actually. And, you know, Neoclassical architecture did not use that many, wall and ceiling paintings, unlike Rococo and Baroque. Neoclassical used a lot of plasterwork instead, like coffered ceilings and stuff like that. Very, very interesting. I'm giving you guys a lot of things to research, I guess. So if you have a little bit of free time, you might want to look at, well, you might want to have to look up some of the terminologies that I'm using so that you can understand a little bit more of what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm really, really good with that for now. And then, I think all that's left to do is actually, okay, put in some lighting, I guess. Okay, you know what? We might as well put some lights now so that we can actually see. I think we might have to do some furniture as well. Oh my god, this part is like super extra long. Oh my god, I might have to edit some of it out as well. But that means like losing some commentary though. Oopsie, never mind. And yes, you guys, I like to read a lot and I like to study history of architecture. That's why I guess I can confidently, confidently discuss things with you guys. And, I don't want to sound like a know-it-all or something. I just like to share, my information with you guys. So hopefully you guys appreciate it. If you don't, please let me know. I'd gladly revert back to the way I used to do things, but I always told you guys that every video I make, I try to make it better than the previous one. I am trying to improve my channel with everything I do, so yeah, move objects, and then let's type off. So yeah, that was it for my little chit chat on the whole history of architecture and all that stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't worry, I'm not ending the video right now because I do not want to end it incomplete. I think the only things that we need to do are actually place in some chairs. Actually, yeah. We only need to place in some chairs, and I don't even know where the door on this room is, so let's go ahead and look at some. Okay, so the doorway is over here, so I'm gonna go ahead, actually this one. The doorway is over here, I'm gonna put it in the next one just because I don't want to have to like be stuck in trying to decide on like what door I should use and all that stuff. Okay, But I think we can go ahead and actually use, let's see here. What painting do I have in mind? I don't have anything in mind, but maybe like a landscape painting would be great. So yeah, that was actually, you know, a fun talk, if I do say so myself. I had so much fun just, you know, trying to rediscover the beauty of classical architecture. Because I am really, really passionate, you guys. And hopefully that's coming across. Hopefully it isn't coming across as like arrogance and stuff, because oh my gosh, I don't want that to happen. And then let's just do that. So now that I've told you guys that, let me ask you guys one question, okay? I'm gonna try to ask a question per part, just to kind of get in touch with you guys. So out of all the different type of architectures that I talked to you guys about, Romanesque, Byzantine, Gothic, Renaissance, Baroque, Rococo, and Neoclassical, which one do you know the best? So that's the first one. And then which one do you like most? Okay? So that is something for you guys to think about and probably comment down below. Let's go ahead and actually, let's see here. So this room, it's actually very, very sparsely furnished. Most of the furniture is on the side. And okay, there are some great chairs in the middle though, so we might have to do that, incorporate that a little bit. You know what I'm actually gonna do is center this painting over here like that. I don't know, I just feel like it would be great. So yeah, we are gonna go ahead and plop in. How long has this been part going? Okay, it has been an hour and 34 minutes. Holy shit. Okay guys, what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna wrap this part up right here. I know I did tell you guys that I was gonna finish this room over here, but I realized that we are an hour and 30 minutes into this video and it's probably really, really long for you guys. So I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap this part up right here, okay guys? Once again, thank you so much for putting up with all of my nonsense chit chat, and I hope you guys enjoyed my little history lesson of architecture here in this part. I think that's actually the reason why this part turned out really, really long, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Do you guys want to hear me like talk more about like architecture in general, or just, you know, I don't know, what do you guys want me to talk about? And once again, thank you guys so much for watching. You all have an awesome day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.